Good day, everyone, and welcome to Obedient Family TV, the program now Hope Alive. Yes, Hope Day for those that believe that a new Nigeria is possible. And yes, yesterday we had a very splendid time, a very good time, both high time, quiet time with our own principal, His Excellency Peter Obi in Abuja. A lot of people gathered, obedience everywhere, showed up to hear from His Excellency, and so much. Many of the obedience were in town, and they will have a very good time. We'll be talking about that as we come on. But most importantly, coming at this very hour is the trending news of Tinubu's visit to Qatar. As you recall, 2 days ago, the Qatar rejected the visit as a business summit, so to speak, coming from the contingencies that will be going to Qatar with Tinubu on his state visits. But then diplomatic damage control is happening now since that rejection, as a fight tooth and nail to make sure that Tinubu and the others go to Qatar, and they have succeeded. We are going to bring that perspective to you. How that leaked note verbal, diplomatic note verbal got leaked, and why there are certain push from high places to make sure that that happens. We'll also bring that. Plus other things that are coming on, like the people that died while searching for rice, very cheap rice, but they died in the process. And then we have labor unions going on, and then we have pro-Tinubu agitators who are saying, no, there shouldn't be a kind of a protest by the labor union. As a matter of fact, it has been buzzwords going between the pro-Tinubu protesters, and then why the protest from NLC has not even commenced. We are seeing all of that. And as we dey studio now, no be only me go talk, I get the vibe for studio.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on this day. On the news today, we have the Akwa Ibom State Governor who came out to debunk the claim of the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, who said that state governors received 30 billion. Yesterday being Sunday, we also had a group of concerned Nigerians who came out to lay a course on Mahmoud Yakubu, who happens to be the INEC chairman. Thank you for joining us. Yes,
wherever you watch us from now, make your like and share. It's your contribution to the Obedient Family TV, and we keep moving. Like yesterday, we talk about our options, redefining our options with people. That is the major discussion of yesterday. But what affirmations we have yesterday was the fact that there is possible come 2027, and we are going to come up with that very highlights. But talking about this particular thing that Divine came up with this very morning as regards to the issue, maybe we'll look at that before we go to this very diplomatic damage control by Tinubu. Can you give me, because your mind they trick you like this, you say make you discuss them first. Let's hear you.
Well, speaking of which, we saw earlier within the last few days that the Qatar government rejected Tinubu's wish to visit the country on bilateral trades, or rather to seek support of the country as regards some investment between the both countries. That's Nigeria and Qatar. And Bayo Onanuga came out recently to debunk the news, like the government always does, to come out and tell us that, oh, okay, that's not what happened, and rather the leaked memo is not really the true situation of things. He also went ahead to say that Tinubu already had a state visit scheduled with the Emir of Qatar.
But talking about this very moment, not just to Qatar, but talking about this very leaked memo, we have to look at it from the perspective of the first rejection by the Qatar government. You understand me? And there are reasons for the rejection. Vis-a-vis looking at it from the damage control that is coming now from the presidential aide by Bayo Onanuga coming out today. But let's take a look at that very leaked diplomatic memo. The first one that was very clearly spelling out why they cannot attend to the contingents coming with Tinubu. It was very, very clear. It was an outright embarrassment to Nigerians who are outside. So this very one is a note verbal. Let's take a look. It said the Embassy of Qatar. I'll go ahead and read so that...
well, it said the Embassy of the State of Qatar in Abuja presents its compliments to the Protocol Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria regarding the upcoming state visit of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to Qatar from 2nd to 3rd March 2024. And with reference to your notes, they inserted the reference number dated 12th of February 2024, which proposed holding of a business and investment forum on the margins of Mr. President's visit to Qatar on the 2nd of March 2024. The embassy has the honor to inform that the Ministry of Commerce and Industry in Qatar apologizes that it will not be able to hold a business and investment forum as proposed by Nigerian side due to the following reasons. It went ahead to name the first one, which he said, 1. Unfortunately, there's no agreement, or rather any agreement signed between the State of Qatar and the Federal Republic of Nigeria on investment promotion and protection. The second reason was His Excellency, the Minister of Commerce and Industry, will be carrying out official missions outside the country during the upcoming visit period. And he stated that the last reason is that the State of Qatar will be hosting a web summit during the suggested period, and the state's authorities will be preoccupied with this event. The Embassy of the State of Qatar avails itself to this opportunity to renew the Protocol Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria the assurances of highest consideration. Abuja, February 22nd, 2024.
Now, this is coming from the Qatar High Commission in Abuja.
Right.
It was very, very explicit. You understand? And they were very clear that as at that very proposed time, that they will be busy. And it means that it's not going to work out for them. Now, I want you to juxtapose that with what Bayo Onanuga is saying to Nigerians today, because it becomes an embarrassment to the Nigerian people that their president clearly was not wanted in Qatar, or rather the contingent, according to what Bayo Onanuga said. Now, let's read what Bayo Onanuga is saying. This is more like what Tinubu is telling Nigerians as a result of that diplomatic leak of that note verbal. Let me get this by myself. Say, we are aware of the leaked diplomatic correspondence between the Embassy of the State of Qatar in Abuja and our Ministry of Foreign Affairs regarding President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's state visit to Qatar between 2nd and 3rd March 2024. He said, the leaked diplomatic paper by mischief makers about an investment forum is not in any way a snub on President Tinubu by the Qatari government. The note verbal is about a private sector-led business and investment forum to be held on the margins of President Bola Tinubu's state visit. The event is being put together by the Nigeria Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, and Qatar's Chamber of Commerce and Industry, where business people from Nigeria will engage their counterparts from Qatar on the commercial and investment opportunities. Now, let me hold this here. Come back to you, Divine. You see here, he's saying that this is a business summit that is made by both ministries from the same government.
Right.
But we understand from the first point that they are not aware of his coming in the first place.
Right.
Very clearly. And that we don't have any bilateral agreement on business relationship between the foreign affairs commissions and all of that.
Right.
So Bayo Onanuga is clearly Tinubu is using Bayo Onanuga to inform Nigerians that we are going there for business and it's between these two departments. But the first letter is clearly stating that they are not even aware and we don't have such relationship.
Right. This is just mirroring the would I say corruption in the Nigerian government. Obviously, it reminds me of the situation with the COPA 23 in Dubai, when we had a lot of people follow the president to this summit on climate change, and they just had a bunch of people who had no business doing there to be there. And now we see what is happening, because if you claim that this you know, summit is meant to be between the trade and commerce industries of these both countries, why is the Qatar Center of Trade and Commerce, or rather what's it called, Ministry of Trade, State and Commerce, not aware of this meeting that you want? They said
it was clearly stated there that His Excellency, the Minister of Commerce and Industry, will be carrying out official mission outside the country during the upcoming visit period. You understand?
Right.
So clearly, it's not an understanding between the two ministries, and that is what he's trying to let Nigerians know.
Right, and it's just a situation where we see maybe they're just looking for a way to siphon money, because, you know, by the time you say you're going with so delegates or so amount of delegates, the budget for the visit is going to increase, and that way you're going to have, like, probably won't be surprised one of these days when we come out to hear, oh, they spent 10 billion naira to do the visit to Qatar and come back, right? And so we've seen now that this is not even about the Ministry of State and of Trade and Commerce, rather. It's just because the Tinubu government rather just wants to have business people. And you know, most times when business meetings like this happen between two countries, the businessmen get to sponsor themselves. So you can imagine how many people are going to, you know, sponsor themselves to be part of this presidential delegation that is going to Qatar. And then we're going to have our you know, our president, or rather our government, now you know, put it under the guise of this is the money they use to transport and do the whole hotel billings and all of that. And again, it's just another way to siphon money.
Yes, I'll get to that. But looking at it here, he continued to say that we know the strong bilateral relationship between our two countries, and affirmed that the state visit by President Bola Tinubu to Qatar is on invitation of Emir of Qatar, His Highness Sheikh Tamim. Now, the state visit is particularly aimed at strengthening the bilateral economic cooperation between Nigeria and Qatar. So, and this write-up actually is like someone else is writing, not really by Onanuga, but it's coming as a presidential press release, if you get my point. So, but what importantly we are trying to communicate out here for our people to understand is that, one, is that the first letter was very clear. This is a damage control. The first letter was very clear. Tinubu was not wanted in Qatar. And they gave their three reasons. They say, unfortunately, there is no any agreement signed between the state of Qatar and the Federal Republic of Nigeria on investment, promotion, and protection. Very, very sound and clear. And the second one has to say that with the Minister of Commerce and Industry will be carrying out official mission outside of Qatar. He is not going to be available. The state of Qatar will be hosting a web summit. Are you telling me that when you arrange a presidential visit to Qatar, Tinubu to visit Qatar, they did not know that they have all of this until you write a letter from Trade and Commerce? So let me now put it this way, like you envisaged. By Onanuga and his team, which obviously are going to join on as delegates to this very place, they have extra codes, money that is going to pay to them. So they will bundle up a whole number of people who are going to go as contingent to that very particular event. Maybe that is what they are seeking at the back door that was backfired. Maybe also Tinubu has already gotten his invitation to visit the Emir of Qatar in the first place. But they were trying to fix up the contingents that will travel with them, the delegates that will go with them, so that they can say, oh, they went with 1,000 or 2,000 persons and they've spent about 5 or 10 billion naira. I think you get the point. Right,
that's just the entire point. Like I mentioned earlier, it is just another avenue to pad up, you know, this budget for this visit, and then have them tell Nigerians that, oh, because I remember the last time with the COPA 23, they mentioned, I think they said they spent over how many billion naira doing all of that, but I don't have the exact specifics, but I know this is just another ploy to just gather you know, bogus delegates, or delegates that probably will even sponsor themselves, because they are trying to, you know, go under the guise of we went with the presidential team, or rather the presidential trio, right? And then they'll tell Nigerians that, oh, we spent so money or so amount of money doing the whole expenses to go to Qatar and come back, and it just another money that leaves the coffers.
I think for now we have explained to Oviden to understand that the U-turn that is made by Qatar, that this is called a diplomatic damage control that has happened there, and the kudos to them. Once they are going, we now start observing how many people are going there and who are the business delegates that are going there, and whether these delegates sponsor themselves or they were actually paid by the government. We see, and how much hotel they'll be paying. But because if this is a state visit that is being invited by the emir, like he said, it means that the emir is supposed to take care of most of this very bill, because like they said, we are a poor country. Well, we keep you informed on this. Then we did, well, let's look at other things. Still on the Tinubu's matter, we realize that there is so many anti-people protest that is coming on. Why we say anti-people protest is people who are now organizing protests on behalf of the government. Now, NLC, as we know, in as much as we may not suppose their actions within the plight of the Nigerian people, we also don't want the people who are saying, please, NLC, please rest Jagaban to rest. No, Jagaban cannot rest. And the reason he cannot rest and nobody should allow him to rest is because he snatched it and he ran with it. So he should be able to manage what he has taken for himself. We have another 3 years to go, and in that very 3 years time, the people who are sponsored that are coming out to talk, they should have shame on their faces. If they are not hungry, people who knew them as are being shown on the screen, let's memorize these faces that are here. Let's find out where they are coming from, to know whether they are feeding 3 times in a day, to find out the kind of work that they do, that they will come out to tell NLC not to protest. Yes, we may not want to join forces with NLC, but guess what? We only challenge what the inactions of NLC and why NLC should do things for the interest of the common benefit of every Nigerian.
Well, yes, again, as we can see, this is also another, avenue for people to come out and display that they've been paid to, come and, protest, because we can see they actually look very unserious. They don't even look like people that are actually protesting anything, with their well-printed banners and well-arranged, caps and printed t-shirts. We can tell that these people are just people who collected, peanuts. I mean, after all, this is the same government that went as far as, renting bishops as to justify their Muslim ticket. So I won't be surprised. These people are just a victim of this same government, because it's only hunger that I can see that will be a reason, a logical reason why somebody is going to sell their birthright and just come out to say stuff that's not relevant. Yes,
Nigerians are united in hunger. You just need to trust me on this. Right. We are united in hunger. We are united in this hardship. And I just wonder where these people come from, whether they came from Nigeria or they were imported from Cameroon, you understand me? Or they were imported from Ghana, where we don't have this hardship. Because it baffles me on why people who in different area community, everybody is lamenting. Fuel, it's about 800 to 900 naira right now. Right. The food stop, even water, drinking water.
Oh, I have something to say. Yes. Because yesterday I wanted to buy water desperately. Like, I kept going from shop to shop. I was like, please, can I get sachet water? Like, oh no, they're on strike. Oh no, they're on strike. And now it's retailing for 15 naira per sachet. And even with the 15 naira, I was even desperate to the point that I was like, okay, even if you're selling 100 naira, can I just get water to drink? And it's just sad, because something as basic as water, I remember growing up, I used to buy sachet water for 5 naira, 10 naira, and now it has migrated, and we're now buying at 15 naira, and even at the 15 naira, it's still now a very scarce commodity, and yet we have people collecting peanuts, selling their birthrights to come and just parade.
Why would people support a scam government? Why would somebody even dream or think about it at this point in time? Even Akwa Ibom State Governor Omar Eno, he replied is it Abio, on what he said about the 5 billion they said they gave them and the 30 billion, because they keep pushing the whole brunt to the governors, and now the governors are pushing back. Let's take a listen to what that man had to say.
Palliative, thank God He was on the palliative committee. The money that federal government gave to me, or to the state, and indeed to all states, was 2 billion naira. Even though federal government said it was 5 billion. We are yet to receive the balance of 3 billion. Even the 2 billion, the federal government have written to us that it has to be refunded. So if you refund the money that was generally believed to be funds that was given to the state, it means that it's the state that did the palliative. And beyond the 2 billion, all of us are in this state. We saw what we did. We spent well over 5 billion if you put all together. I'm not talking, even add the salaries that we paid for 3 months and put all of that. Check with the Accountant General's office. We spent well over that. So that's the part. On the one that states have been given 30 billion for palliative, I think it's a prophecy. And I pray the prophecy will come to pass. And, you know, we are in the States and our people are there in Abuja. Maybe there is a plan like that. So I join in praying that it should come. It will help us a lot. But as I stand here today, we have not received more than 2 billion naira from the federal government on palliative, and we are made to understand that it was a loan. And this state spent well over 5 billion. We are now getting a bill to the, we have gotten a bill to the House of Assembly to be able to pass so that we start the bulk purchase agency. Bulk purchase agency, the state government wants to do bulk purchase of food and send it to the market so we can be able to stem price of food. We're not setting a price control, but we'll be able to say, if you flood the market, this is the price. The challenge for us is that we want to take away middlemen so that this can get to the real people.
So at least we have heard from the man that the 30 billion that they are talking about coming from the presidency and Akpabio himself, that they are all prophecy. Prophecy simply meaning that it's something that is going to materialize probably at a later time. It has been scam and multiple promises that are not working. We remember a time some months back that Jury Aguleri or whatever his name is talked about the Emirates suspension that have been lifted from Nigeria, talked about the visa issues that have been resolved for all Nigerians. All scam. None of them work till now.
Well, the APC-led government, we can tell and we know their antecedents, or what we know them for, is lies. I don't know something, probably help us in the comment section, something that the APC-led, or rather the Tinubu-led government has told us we're going to do, or we've rectified, that they've managed to rectify. They just keep making bogus claims day after day and making, you know, promises upon promises, which is just very sad to see, because with this conversation, we had someone as respected, the number 3rd man in the hierarchy of this country, sit down and tell a group of people with, knowing fully well that it was being televised, still had the, audacity to lie to Nigerians, and lied so blatantly and without remorse. Because the people you're lying against, you probably want to incite some kind of vendetta on the state government, so everybody would direct their anger to the state government, when we know leadership starts from the head. Because why are you lying about 30 billion naira, knowing fully well that these men that you're lying against, they are not deaf and dumb. These are people that can come out and also defend themselves. Days later ago, we reported that Seyi Makinde of Oyo State still came out and debunked this claim, and now this is the governor of the state he once was the governor coming out to say that, oh, this thing is not true. And it's like, what do you gain from lying and making bogus claims like that? You gave them, you said 5 billion, apparently they collected 2, and even the 2 billion you gave them, you're still telling them to refund it, and you have the, the gall to sit in National Assembly and lie to everybody listening to you. What is that supposed to mean? So, like, the APC-led government is just filled with lies and various forms of, promise and fail.
Yeah, and that's why I keep saying that I kind of marvel why people can still come out to support such government. If you want to, I'm not against supporting the government. You support the government by going into farming, by doing the production that PO spoke about, and other things that will help people to go through this very hard time for the next 3 years. You understand me? You put it into action, but not coming out to come and stand on the people who wish to speak up for themselves so that government will do the right thing. But talking about PO, we know that PO has something to say to us all about what happened on the loss of life for people who are starving and the fact that Nigerians are united in this hunger. Let's take a look at the PO speaking to everybody's Excellency P2B on his tweet about this very particular thing. So he said, just yesterday I read the saddening report of how the search for cheap rice claimed the lives of some Nigerians in Lagos. According to the report, a massive crowd of hungry Nigerians were very, very active there, had besieged the zonal office of the Nigeria Customs Service in Yaba, Lagos to purchase the discounted 25 kg bags of rice being offered by the Customs Service. In the course of the heavy stampede, that ensued, some lives were lost. It is heartbreaking to think that despite all the wealth of our nation, Nigerians are losing their lives in their desperate quest to buy cheap food in the face of the growing hunger and starvation in the country. This sad occurrence reflects the level of hardship, hunger, and starvation prevalent in the country, with millions of people not knowing where their next meal will come from. It is very disheartening that our national economy has been driven into perhaps the worst state in all of our national history. Let me stop it here due to the time constraint. I implore you to go to the X platform, formerly Twitter, and check out P2B's handle and see the reaction of people and how he concluded this very particular tweet. So let's come back to studio. We understand that PO also spoke about this yesterday when the obedience converged to have the interaction in Abuja. And it was very fruitful, redefining our options. And we see the likes of Reti Kingibe speaking what I would say, I was touched when she said she owed it to the obedience on her election, you understand? Because without the obedience, it would never have been possible, you understand? Even when people say God made it possible, God uses people to make things possible. He doesn't, except he said he wants to use sand, but in the course of democracy, we understand that God uses people to make this happen, and it happens to be the obedience. And as we see in that very context, what my takeaway from redefining our options yesterday was the call by the comrade Aisha Yusufu, who was very clear on having us cooled on what has happened in the last election, and for us to start now to do what? To prepare our mindset. We got prepared within 9-10 months to that election, but we have 3 years. And if we did not start on time, then we might have another blame coming, which we don't want, because we want a new Nigeria that we all claim is possible. Let's take a listen to the charge that our comrade Aisha Yusuf charged all obedience worldwide, what she said. Let's take a listen.
Sure that the judges, the justices, now I am speaking as a citizen of Nigeria. I am speaking as Aisha Yusufu. My house is not too far from DSS office. If they want me, they can get me. All those justices who decided they were the playthings of corrupt politicians, who put it in their face instead of them being the last resort of the common man. Should they say they want polling unit agents, every one of them, right? Guess what? Every one of us must be ready to be polling unit agents, and we will carry our results. We will put it in the court. We will go to a big court. We will go to Supreme Court. We will give them every one of those damn sheets that they want. Today, everybody is feeling it, right? They say obedient people are the ones that will suffer. They say we will cry. Now that's what they first cry before us.
So at least we've heard from Aisha, the charge is not just about the preparations that is going to take on now, but she also charged the obedience worldwide that we must from now make our mindset that we are going to be those agents that is at the polling units agents in all. You understand? We are not just going to wait on Labour Party or any party at all, because the obedient movement is a party of their own. You understand? Using that Labour Party as a vehicle. So if we have this mindset, we will also advocate that we use the incoming by-election or off-season elections. We have one coming in Edo and we have one coming in Anambra State, where we could actually choose somebody and see that that person we choose, that we come out straight with it and see if there are any implications like a trial against 2027.
Well, we can already see what the Labour Party elected governor in Abia State is doing, right? And we have already applauded him, and everywhere, everybody's singing his praise. So with the forthcoming elections, if you are in these cities, you do the right thing and, vote for, workability and vote for change, active change. So by the time these elections come to your doorstep, or it happens where you're living in, you know who to cast your votes to, and don't let yourself be swayed by maybe the peanuts they give every election, right? So speaking about letting ourselves be the polling or work in the polling units, right? We should allow we should not allow our votes to be stolen, like what happened in the last election, right? So do not shy away from electoral activities. Come out, use your what's it called, your PVC, vote, and then exercise your rights to franchise.
Yes, and now we must know that again, that we must get prepared, because they have just sowed the seed that 2027 is for real. And with that very one, wherever you are, what you can do for obedience is you like and you share this very video. Like and share. That is the commitment that you owe the obedience whenever you come across the video that we are broadcasting. The talking is not cheap, and we need your support so that other obedience will know. Please do like and share. And we'll bring our own Dele Farotimi as a final thing to you, who said that Nigeria is a perverse place, where simply because Nigeria is today because of the absence of the governance in Nigeria. Like Aisha Yusuf will always say that Nigeria does not have a president. But of course, there are people that are governing from Aso Rock, and of course they are defined as the president. So there must be a constant authority that must be recognized in every given society. However, one by themselves can reject who becomes their president, or as the case might be. That is an individual thing and it's individual opinion. But let's take this very school of thought from Dele Farotimi. Please like and share widely for other people to like.
Abuse becomes inevitable. And that is the Nigerian situation. We have not merely or just decided to ignore what is important. It is because the state, and that's Nigeria I'm speaking to, has not been purposed to do anything good. It has no purpose. The country has been led by visionless men who have not been capable of envisioning a future to which they then annex the people. If you go into the book of Habakkuk, I believe chapter 2, particularly verses 1 to 2, he says very clearly, vision is for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it. Write it down. Make it plain, that those who read it may run with it. Think about it. There is nothing esoteric about that, and it's pretty straightforward. You can even secularize it. A vision if you say something is a vision, it means that it is not something that exists in the present. It is something that you have envisioned based on your creative capacity as a God. Man is a God. I'm not saying he is God, but man is a God. He is a God precisely because he has the capacity to think. He can imagine. In his imagination, he envisions. So, if a country is led by visionary men and women, the first thing that happens is that they look at their present circumstances and then they envision something that is futuristic, and they then constrain the powers, the resources, both human and material, towards the actualization of that vision. You don't need to travel far. A lot of you have been to Dubai, but I'll tell you the story of a friend. My friend went to Dubai some years ago, and he met a Nigerian in Dubai. This Nigerian used to work at the Sheraton in Ikeja, and then they posted him to Dubai. I believe that must have been sometime in the 80s. And when he got to Dubai, they didn't have anything. It was bare desert. But they had a visionary ruler who just came into power. And the man decided that he wanted to make Dubai a tourist hub, the major tourist destination in the Middle East. He wanted to make it a tech hub, the major one in the Middle East. He wanted to make it a place where the infrastructure is second to none. The man envisioned a future, and then he constrained the resources of the people towards the actualization of that vision. Go and look at Dubai today. It has better infrastructure compared to the Western world. Its rail system, its road infrastructure, the construction engineering, second to none. That was built on the back of vision. What does vision do? It constrains your mind. It directs your energy. It gives you the capacity to focus on what you have deemed important. That is the place of vision. But when vision is lacking, no matter how much resources you may have, human and material, what happens in the absence of vision is that perversion follows. That is the situation of the Nigerian. When purpose is unknown, abuse becomes inevitable. If I gave you a gun and you do not know what to do with the gun, because of the long barrel, you might think it is meant to turn gari or to even make amala. And you might be foolish enough, in spite of PhDs, to think that that gun is intended to pound yam. That is the abuse that will follow because purpose is unknown. Look at our country, Nigeria. If you have been fortunate or unfortunate sometime, as the case might be, to have visited a place like IITA in Ibadan, you begin to have a clearer picture of what I'm talking about. I have been to IITA multiple times. I spend time there. I write in their compound. And this is what I found. The first place I went to in the United States was Houston. The first time I entered IITA, years after I've been driving past it on my way to and from my secondary school, because I schooled at Fidelity Grammar School. You have to drive past the DOC and you drive right past IITA, and then you see the lush green lawns. That was the only acquaintanceship I had with the place until I began to stay there about 6-7 years ago. And what did I find when I entered the place? The place could very well have been Houston, which was a generally was a warm environment, so warm water environment, so there were a lot of fauna and vegetation. And that was exactly what I found when I entered IITA. I found a paradise in the midst of the hell that we have produced. They were given land by the Nigerian government sometime around 1962. I'm not sure of that date. You might want to check it yourself. But they took that land, jungle, with, I believe there was a pond or maybe a lake, or maybe they created, and they built a paradise in that place. But when you come outside of IITA, you come to Idiose, and then you get to a job, you come to the hell that we have turned our paradise into. That is because purpose was unknown. Abuse became inevitable. When you have great resources that are not husbanded, what you find is perversion. Nigeria is a perverse place simply because purpose is unknown. Those who rule her or ruin it have failed to declare a purpose, and perversion has become inevitable. Nigeria is today what it is because of the absence of vision governing it. We have majored in the minuses. You find the biggest cars in Nigeria, the most expensive cars, the most expensive wine, the most expensive air, the most expensive clothes, because the resources that should have been directed to vision has found no vision. All it has found is perversion. Are perversions, sexual perversions, consumptive perversions, all kinds of perversions have found home in Nigeria because our rulers are visionless, myopic base men incapable of envisioning a future. We live in a country with fertile grounds. Our soils are fertile. We could plant everything and anything that we want to eat in our country. But what do you have? Hunger besieging our land, simply because purpose is unknown. We have majored in the minors and we have ignored all that is important. Now, this has not happened by accident. It has happened because we as a collective have ignored to define what is important to us. The government, in the absence of purpose, have pursued one white elephant project after the other. There was even a dotard, the very young man, the youngest person to ever become president of Nigeria, Yakubu Gowon. He once declared blithely that the only problem Nigeria has is doesn't know what to do with money. This was at a time when we didn't have a national grid. Up until now, we still don't have one, but even as at that time, purpose was unknown. We were busy hosting, Festac 77. He wasn't there by the time he was, but remember, it had been initiated long before he left. But his successors were pretty much the same. Barely literate men, devoid of vision, only focused on consumption. So we squandered a generation, the wealth of the generation, the human resource of the generation, and then the generations that followed. Squandered, because instead of pursuing vision, we pursued perversion. Religion, let me tell you the connection. Religion means to bind. But what does religion bind? It binds the mind so that you think along acceptable channels. But it has become a tool for the putrefaction of the African, particularly the Nigerian. Because instead of focusing your attention on what you could be, envisioning a better future and speaking to it, it has taught you to accept the madness and to embrace it. So you see people nodding their head like idiots, praying and fasting because their pastors or their imams have said so. So what man should do, you start begging God to do. That was how one opened his mouth recently and was speaking about how our problems are spiritual. I don't remember them praying Redeem Camp into existence. They walked it into existence. They walked universities into existence. They walked an entire city into existence. They walked the infrastructure. They didn't pray it into existence. Walk and pray. That is what the Bible declared. But they continue to ask us to pray. That's why I said recently, those praying for you are praying on you. They have determined that their interests are best served by allowing you to focus on what is not important. They ask you to pray whilst they are working. Whether the work they do is evil or good, history shall record and time will tell. But what is clear is that these people have not directed you to purpose. Religion has become a way of distracting you, taking your attention off what is important and focusing you on unimportant things, and you pursue perversion, trivialities in the place of purpose. What about the business class? Let's talk about them. So you build a business, you bind, you steal, you build it all up in a country that you have refused to build. You are building a country that your children cannot survive in. You are building businesses and wealth that cannot survive in the country that you have failed to build. What is the purpose of the wealth you have gathered when you have actually destroyed the country of your birth? The only place where your children would ever find any validation, because however rich you are only one generation removed from Floyd, the one that couldn't breathe any longer. That is what you are. He was American. You are a bloody Nigerian, quote and unquote. And then you go to their country, you think because you have money. Where is Ekweremadu today? If Ekweremadu had built or facilitated the construction of a good renal center in Nigeria, we can afford it. We have the money. We have the resources. We have the brains. You go abroad, these Nigerians you'll find working in all the places you are going to go for your health care. If you had built one and a society in which they could live, even if he are as iniquitous as he was, would he be in jail today? One by one. The point I am making to you is this. Build this place. Focus on what is important. No matter how many limousines you buy, no matter how many Rolls Royce, no matter how many gold watches, no matter how many skyscrapers you build, if you do not build a place that is futuristic and visionary, your children shall become as vagabonds in the hell that you are continually building, no matter how rich you are. Speaking of protests, let me speak to that specifically. I know as a fact that multiple organizations are preparing protests in the coming days and weeks. They plan to protest. Let me say very clearly, I am not in the habit of deprecating anything that anyone might care to do in pursuit of their freedom in this unjust entity called Nigeria. I will sometimes speak, as it is my duty, I believe, against violence. But I cannot say that even the oppressed or the victim who have embraced violence against a violent system has done anything wrong. I wouldn't employ violence, but I will not speak against those who have elected to embrace it. I wouldn't take it, but I wouldn't speak against it, because it is actually quite unjust, iniquitous, and evil to speak against those who have elected to find one way or the other to engage with this system that seeks to imprison, to constrain, and to limit. So, if you find yourself minded to join the protests that are being called, please feel free to. There is nothing you do in pursuit of freedom that can be said to be wrong, as far as I'm concerned.